Okay. Is he? Oh. Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to October the 9th Special Council meeting. Firstly, please make sure your phones are turned to silent mode. And I'll now read the acknowledgement to country. Basco Shire Council acknowledges the Bunurong as the traditional owners and custodians of the land and the water, and pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the tradition, the culture and the law. Basco Shire Council celebrates the opportunity to embrace and empower Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities in their diversity. Basco Shire Council will create opportunities for future recognition and respectful partnerships that will honour the traditional owners and custodians and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Councillor Holstead, could you please read the councillor statement?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. All members of this council pledge to the Bass Coast Shire community to consider every item listed on this agenda based on the individual merits of each item without bias or prejudice, by maintaining an open mind and disregarding councillors' personal interests so as to avoid any conflict with our public duty. Any councillor having a conflict of interest in an item will make a proper prior disclosure to the meeting and will not participate in the debate or vote on the issue. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holstead. Item 1, President apologies. We had two apologies, Councillor Michael Whelan and Councillor David Rooks. Item 2, there's declarations of interest. There are no declarations of interest. Item 3 is the report requiring a council decision. So 3.1, Annual Financial Report and Performance Statement 23 to 24. Ms. Borley, could you please introduce the report? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek Council's in-principle approval for submission of the financial statements and performance statement to the Victorian Auditor-General Office for reporting in the annual report in line with legislative requirements. The report also seeks authorisation for the Principal Accounting Officer to make any subsequent changes to the statements as necessary to meet the Auditor-General's requirements, and nominates the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor to certify the statements in their final form on behalf of Council. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Borley.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a clarification from Ms. Borley, please?
Yes, Councillor Bauer.
Yeah, Ms. Borley, can you, the question is why and how can we bring this in during caretaker mode?
Thanks, Councillor Bauer. Through the Mayor, there's no issue with these reports being presented during the election period. There's a three-step process which must be followed. So presentation of the statements to the Audit and Risk Committee, then presentation to Council seeking in-principle approval for presentation to VAGO, and then inclusion in the annual report, which must be presented to an open council meeting 1 day prior to an election in an election year. Therefore, in order to meet the legislative timeframes, this report needs to come to Council today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Could I request a councillor to move the recommendation? Oh, Councillor Holstead, a seconder. Councillor Tessari. Thank you, Councillor Holstead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate that feedback to Ms. Borley in relation to the timeframes for this report to be included in the annual report, and I completely understand why we're discussing this in the chamber today. I'm very comfortable with the financial report as it's been presented. I know that we have very good financial team as part of Bass Coast, and as I sit on the Audit and Risk Committee, I'm also very comfortable with the oversight that the Audit and Risk Committee have given it. They had questions that were answered succinctly, and certainly made me feel very confident with the reports that have been presented today. So congratulations to everyone who have worked hard to get this report to us in order to make the deadlines, and I will be supporting the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Holstead. Councillor Tessari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too I appreciate the words that Councillor Holstead just said, and also the answer given by Ms. Borley to Councillor Bauer was very thorough and explains why we are here today doing such. I also want to congratulate David and, Mr. Phil Malta and his team in the finance department who have done such amazing work, always have in the whole time that I've been here. So I appreciate the report that they've put forward, and the fact that Councillor Holstead is also on the Audit and Risk Committee and can clarify the questions that were asked by them also gives me the confidence to support this as well.
Good, thank you. Any other councillors like to speak to the recommendation? Councillor Lang?
Very briefly, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to echo what my fellow councillors said in terms of timing, legislative requirements and the work of council officers. It is disappointing to note that the financial assistance grants provided by the federal government, which have previously been received in advance, have had a significant impact of $8.4 million on the underlying deficit. I think that the federal government, should work really hard to provide us these grants in a timely fashion as they have in prior years. So a lot of the underlying deficit is actually not council's fault. Highlight that.
Good, thank you, Councillor Lang. Any other councillors wishing to speak to the recommendation? No? Councillor Holstead, would you like to close?
I'd just like to thank Councillor Lang for raising and highlighting that point of the federal government being more timely in its presentation of the grants. It does impact on us. We've got a lot of pressures at local government level with, rate capping, cost shifting, and now the grants that we heavily rely on are being held up and therefore impacting on our budget. So hopefully they can sort that mess out. We certainly have to stick to guidelines that are set for us, as we're seeing right here in the chamber today with these financial reports. So I think other levels of government who have far greater resources than we have should be able to get their ducks in a row and make sure that the grants are issued in a timely manner. So I thank Councillor Lang again for raising that, and happy to go with the recommendation, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holstead. Those in favour of the recommendation? Those against? Thank you, that's carried. Thank you, councillors. I would like to say that the next council meeting, that's the only item of agenda today, and the next council meeting will be held next week, 16th of October, as the final council meeting for this term of council at 1 o'clock here in the Civic Centre. So thank you all for watching and attending today, this special council meeting. Thank you. Is it offline?